Surprise! Oh, Muff left.
Where
Muff's had
did
enough
Muff
already.
go? And he's back.
You scared him away.
I hope we edit this.
Muff got scared.
Muff, do you need your thunder, buddy?
No idea what's
Here I
going on.
come.
Today is Thursday, April 3rd, and we are excited to bring you betting updates, thoughts on NFL rule changes, and other discussions on current events in sports.
Is that our intro? That was rough. And he's gone again. And he's back.
And he's gone. He's back. He turns into a literal M&M whenever he goes away. There's just a little circle with an M in it.
Yeah.
A black
Here I am.
That's the sexy one.
Jim, have at it. Go ahead and give us an intro.
I can't. I'm so flustered by your disappearing act.
Muffnack has appeared. Thanks to everybody that's interacting with all of our content on the socials, at Sports Jim Muff on Instagram and Twitter, Sports Stuff with Jim Muff on Facebook, on YouTube. Subscribe, comment, rate, review, poke, like, tickle.
Get the bell on.
Ding, ding. Did Sam just do a weird in the background?
Yeah, she tried.
It sounded like a golem was like...
Steve, there's a reason why I call you the troll.
Oh, boy.
Before we get into the leadoff and potential divorce, a quick update on our tourney bracket challenges. On the men's side, we have disgruntled Fed employee, also known as Golf Guru Garrett, on top, with Duke as the champion in his bracket, followed by K. Shim with Florida, and then SAS 517 with Auburn. Those seem to be those that are in contention.
Oh my gosh. How do we keep letting this happen?
Damn, I guess.
How do we keep letting this happen?
I thought I was in 4th place, guys. I'm so excited.
Well, you may be in 4th place, but I think the 3rd place person has either Duke or Florida winning.
So wait,
So
there's...
if Auburn wins, you will pass those people up.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, boy.
Well, the good news is you can make your own shit, because merch is the prize. So there we go.
Prizes.
Merch. Prizes.
On the women's side, the Sports Stuff with Jim and Muff pick number 3 bracket is at top.
Woo!
Rigged.
It was so rigged that I did. No, I'm not going to say random because it wasn't random, but there was like the fan favorite picks, and I choose one of those, and then I did like some weighted favorites option, and then some like completely random one. So yeah, one of those is on top. South Carolina picked to win that bracket, followed by DSIP 04 and Game Day Metrics, who both have UCLA picked to win. After that, we have Bell Bell with UConn taking the title in that particular bracket.
Do you know who Bell Bell is?
I do not.
Oh, the mystery person.
There are many mystery people in these, Jim, just so we're clear.
I hate to break my own bubble here, but actually in 3rd place is Sports Up with Jim and Muff picks number 3 with Duke.
I did you hear my explanation, Sam?
What?
You are the only person in like the top 4 or 5 that has Auburn winning.
Oh, that makes more sense.
Oh.
Yeah, that spray tan really did get to you. Huh?
Oh.
So if Duke wins, a disgruntled Fed employee will win.
Oh.
Sing it, everybody.
Oh, boy.
Go fuck up.
And
good.
there we are.
We get into the leadoff now. Shout out to West Liberty men's wrestler, now 3-time Division II champion Ty McGeary, for being named the most outstanding wrestler in Division II over the past week.
Good for him.
It's the Hodge Trophy of Division II wrestling, I
Kudos.
believe. Also in the wrestling world, in Division I, there has been some discussion and controversy for the Hodge Trophy in Division I men's wrestling. It went to heavyweight champion Wyatt Hendrickson, named the most dominant wrestler of the year after an undefeated season where he obviously beat Gable Steveson in the finals a couple weeks ago. The controversy and some outcry, I will say probably to a lot of Penn State wrestling faithful, is that they believe Carter Starachi should have been the winner He had a higher percentage of bonus point wins, but he did have less falls and some other statistical areas.
Where do you land, Muff?
I land. Why didn't we give it to Mitchell Messenbrink? That's where I land. He had, I believe, the highest percentage of tech falls. I think he had just as many bonus point wins. That's where I land on this. Carter Starachi, I mean, a lot of people call him Carter Stalrachi, so he does win. When he wins big, he wins big. When he's in a tight match, it's usually very close and decided by. There's not a lot of action, I'll say. He dominates when he dominates. Wyatt Hendrickson had the most falls, obviously had the most high-profile win. So
Were any of them undefeated? These other gentlemen?
all three of those were.
Okay.
That I
Did
just
any
mentioned.
of them take down somebody who had not been taken down all year?
I have a feeling that Carter Starachi probably did at some point. But Carter
I don't.
Starachi was also the person that I think had never really been taken down.
I mean, if he had never been taken down all year and undefeated, I then say I make the argument for Carter. However, Hendrickson took down the guy who had not been taken down. He was the underdog in that match and undefeated. And probably one of the most historic wins in the final history.
Does that make you the most dominant wrestler?
Of the year?
It makes you the most potentially storied wrestler of the year. But he also, again, had the most falls, I believe, in Division I wrestling. Wyatt Hendrickson did. So I'm not going to sit here and say that I have this outcry that some people have. I think there is a lot of, we'll say, bias towards Carter Starachi because he's the only 5-time national champion, but it's not a career award. It is a annual
I don't like
award.
the bonus point argument. How is a heavyweight going to get bonus points?
There's many that argue that they, in fact, have an easier time because they get a lot of falls.
I'm cool with who got it.
In other controversy, some other drama that's continued on, LeBron and Stephen A. Jim had some concern that we did not cover this fully last week, so
We didn't cover it all, not fully. We didn't even touch it.
we've talked about LeBron and Stephen A. in the past couple weeks.
But we didn't touch the newest chapter.
Have at it, Jim.
I'm not fully up to date in it. You guys will have to help out here. LeBron goes on McAfee and basically punks Stephen A. But also, like, throws grenades at other people that were... Well, I don't know why you had to do that, Braun, but okay. The next day, Stephen A gets his retort, but LeBron fires back on the gram. And that's basically the best summation I have.
What were the shots fired, Jim? What were they involving?
I mean, LeBron says that the fact that he's even talking about him on the McAfee show is probably putting him a big old smile on Stephen A's face, and he's sitting at home in his tighty whities with a smile ear to ear eating some ice cream. That to me was the key shot. I don't know how else to summarize that. Like, that was it to me. And then Stephen A makes a point that basically in his retort, LeBron is just mad because Stephen A keeps saying that Michael Jordan's better than him. Right? Like,
You missed the day before the LeBron conversation where Stephen A made mention that if LeBron had put his hands on him whenever they had that conversation, Stephen A would have slapped the shit out of him.
I couldn't figure out where that happened. So thank you. That was the day before?
I believe that was the day before, which is why I believe LeBron had some comments.
Oh, I'd love to see Stephen A. try to slap the shit out of him and then get off to the point. Yeah.
Stephen A then later came out and said, I said if he put his hands on me, not that he was going to initiate this. And then he also said that he is well aware that LeBron would murder him, mostly.
So was this a setup?
I'm not going to go as far as to say it was a setup. But the LeBron conversation was pretty interesting because of, I would say it was the most candid I've seen LeBron on a variety of topics. So that was interesting, unique. They even went as far to say, "Hey, LeBron, when you got those books in your hand pre-game, are you actually reading those, or is this just for the camera?" That was funny.
I
But
didn't like his take on the previous generation. I think
which
that was the only
was
thing that, if who did he say? What was the player he cited? If they played back in the day, they'd have 270 some odd points. What player did he cite?
I do not know.
I think it was Joel Embiid.
Joel Embiid is a current player.
Right, and if he went back in time, he would have 270 points.
In a game?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was like, how? I guess I don't understand the purpose of LeBron, like, talking all that shit. Like, he had such a great image of being the ambassador, the statesman, and now he's kind of coming back to, I don't know, one of the boys. Like he's bringing it down to our level. Why?
I mean, that was the intent of him being on the McAfee show. That is the traditional reason. You don't go on there to be a statesman and to gain political favor in the sports world. You go in there to have a more raw conversation. It's not as scripted as most, so you may just get some realistic opinions on there, and not the, oh, this is the prepared statement or the 5 lines that I know I should say in response to this type of question. So,
but it feels, I don't know, and maybe I'm out of pocket here. Maybe like I'll make an ass of myself here, but him doing so almost feels scripted. Like when when Triple H or Stephanie or a wrestler goes on McAfee, you see we're all in on the joke here. Like this is prepared and rigged statements. It felt like one of those. Like it felt like, oh, you guys talked about what he's gonna say. You know what's coming next. The setups are kind of, here comes a softball from Pat. Oh, I'm going to say something controversial here. It just didn't feel organic. And like, why are you baiting Stephen A? And then when Stephen A comes back with his retort, it was like, are you two in on this? Like, is this, and maybe I'm the wrestling fan. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe I think this is we're all getting worked. But like, that's kind of what it felt like to me.
I mean, it's definitely good for everybody.
That's what I mean.
For that to happen, I'm not going to say that it was entirely scripted, but you also have, we'll say, the triangle there of people that are very good at drawing attention.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that's just the perfect storm for anything that was said. Was probably going to have, a couple days of play out of it being controversial and people going back and forth. So there may be somewhat of a script to it, but I'm not going to go as far to say it was an entire work.
Because we all tuned into First Take. The TikToks were popping. The NBA, I'm sure the eyeballs were on a Lakers game that night,
Well, the eyeballs were on the Lakers playing the Pacers, and LeBron did have a game-winning bucket. So it was on a putback. It wasn't like a scripted, like, oh, this is LeBron with 2 seconds left from 3. It was somebody else shot it, and he happened to tip it in. So that would be tough to script.
I don't know. It felt like an inside job.
Nate, Alex, thoughts?
Boo, basketball.
I don't feel like boo basketball,
Boo,
but
basketball.
I don't really care too much about this LeBron drama. But
all right,
I guess my last point on this is, I know there was reported tension between McAfee and Stephen A, and Stephen A gives him props during the retort back to LeBron. Do we think there's tension still? Do we think this heightened the tension?
I think that tension has dissipated. McAfee's gone on to say, like, I think Stephen A's a trailblazer. One of the reasons he models his licensing of his show to ESPN is based off of Stephen A. So he has respect for him as a business person and in that industry. I think just they're people that are come off the hip for takes, and sooner or later they're going to cross paths.
All right.
That's my take. That's my thought.
Fair enough.
We'll call this second take.
Okay. That's all I got.
All right, baseball is off and running, except for the Pirates.
Shocker.
No, they're running the bases when they get on. They're just not getting on very
Yeah, you just have to get on in order to be allowed to run the bases.
But the primary hot topic over this first week in Major League Baseball is the torpedo bat. And how it's leading to, well, for now, more runs, more home runs, more, I don't know, just more hits. Initial thoughts on the torpedo bat. Nate, I'm going to give you this initial thought on the torpedo bat, what you've heard, what you understand, and do you think this is good for the game or not?
So, what I've heard from what I saw was they're like, of course, the Yankees are the first team to come out and do it. So, essentially, what they've done is they've moved I'll call it the sweet spot of the barrel down closer to the label of the bat or closer to the handle. So now a lot of these guys with the Yankees that were making ordinary contact were leading to longer fly balls and a lot of home runs. And I think the Yankees had, 10?
Yeah.
In that game the other day against the Brewers. So, of course, they're like, yeah, they're going to do this stuff or whatever. And I don't particularly like it. Because, again, I don't want to watch a game and see homer after homer after homer. Like, I like seeing, pitchers work and guys making contact have to adjust. It's like, if you're continuously hitting the ball off the label of the bat, either choke up on your fucking bat or get a shorter bat. And again, it's going to come down to, everybody wants a torpedo bat, and then we're just going to be playing home run derby. And they want to talk about the pace of play and all that stuff. They're like, oh yeah, runs are up. It's more exciting to watch. It's like, yeah, then you're going back into, oh my God, this game's long. Like mine tonight, that was 20-4.
Shout out Jim's alma mater. Alex.
I kind of agree with Nate. It's not my favorite. I like the pitchers battle a little bit. There's a happy medium. You want one or two home runs. You want it to be exciting, but if it's basically like a corked bat, it takes away some of the art of the pitching and all of that. So
it's not a corked bat, though.
I know, but
they've just reconfigured the bat.
Yes, but I'm saying if it is as though you're gonna hit the ball farther, you're gonna hit it better every time. I'd prefer just to use a normal bat, or just say every bat's a torpedo bat.
These are all within the specs. That's the thing. Right?
Yeah.
It is. It's changing the sweet spot of the barrel to, in the end, help specific types of players or players that may be jammed. Like the sweet spot isn't moved, we'll say, down the barrel towards your hands. Correct, Nate?
Yes.
Right. Which theoretically, if people that are jammed a little bit, that would be, either a broken bat or some weak, infield fly or grounder. Now that's resulting in, fly balls, and in this case, home runs, or
reverse
at least solid contact.
So for right now, it's reversed. The bad hitters are getting home runs. Got it.
Not bad. The ones that would be potentially behind or swinging at a pitch that's not within their sweet spot, not with their hot strike zone. So this is going to lead to pitchers having to figure out how to pitch around this, right? I just can't jam them anymore. Let's work them outside because they can't get as easily to the ball outside now. I think there's just going to be a different art to pitching at this point. And obviously the Brewers, a huge loser in this whole situation, especially as they faced the Yankees in one of their first series. They became the first team ever to have a total ERA over 12 after 4 games, as you would expect. Jim, have you heard anything about torpedo bats, and do you have an opinion?
I've seen the bats. My understanding is they were looking at outlawing them. Maybe that's one of those Facebook posts that I just read the clickbait header. They might not be. I don't know. I think if they figured out a way to work the system, more power to you. My retort to Nate is I don't understand why you don't like homer after homer after homer. I think that's what the casual fan wants to see is, and maybe I'm wrong, but I would think that people want to see bomb after bomb and scoring. I think scoring in any sport is what people want to see, but maybe I'm wrong because I freaking hate baseball. So I defer back to you, but like, I
Yeah, I
don't
mean,
know.
I think the casual fan, just like in any sport, you want to see offense. Like in football, you want to see points put on the board. Basketball, you want to see points. You don't want these low, lull you to sleep games. But at the same time, it's like, all right, if we're putting a product out there that is rewarding people for average play at best, it's like, what are we doing to the integrity of the game?
But what do you mean by that? And I don't typically go at it with you. What do you mean by if the rule is okay, like there is no rule against the torpedo bat, how does it hurt the integrity of the sport?
Because, like Alex said, it's almost like a corked bat in a way, if you want to look at it that way. Because you're saying, okay, you are rewarding the hitters and making it easier on the offense to produce in a game that's meant to be challenging.
But isn't that the way of all sports?
Well, that's what I think part of the problem in sports in general is they're favoring the offense more and more because they want the scoring to go up. But I think it's coming at a cost where if we're going to see stuff like Muff pointed out, like a team ERA of 12 and above, like that's to me that's not fun to watch. Like I want to be able to see pitchers make pitches and get guys out and not what do you think is a routine fly ball in Yankee Stadium to right field, clear the fence, or like they call America or Cincinnati's ball field, Great American Small Park, because every routine fly ball basically goes as it's the smallest in dimensions all the way around.
Okay, I get it. I see what you're saying.
So with this is a bit of a pendulum swing with the torpedo bat. I heard, this is not my thoughts, and I forget where I heard this from. Is it worth considering giving something back to the pitchers? We took away spider tack. Now the hitters have a different advantage, and we obviously have all sorts of pitchers getting Tommy John surgery. Is it worth maybe reconsidering spider tack or some type of adhesive substance for pitchers to have access to aside from just rosin to give them a little bit back in this battle?
Yeah, but it doesn't favor the offense and scoring, so it's never going to happen. It's just like in football where you see we talked about in football season, all these roughing the passers and uh, targeting fouls and all that. Like they're doing more and more now to favor the offense. So anything that's like that, they're never going to reconsider that.
Yeah, I agree with you, Nate. I would be curious at some point if it gets out of hand, would we consider something for the pitchers? TBD. Also in the baseball world, we have more history for the Pirates, who were the losers of walk-off battles for their first 3 losses of the season, becoming the first team to do that since the 1924 version of the Pittsburgh Pirates. More negative, terrible history for the Pirates as they start their baseball season. In the college baseball world, Texas A&M and Kentucky had a tiff because Kentucky, abiding by the travel curfew within the SEC, stalled the game in the 8th inning over this past weekend while being up 10-5. The travel curfew in this conference states that a game cannot start an inning after 4:30 p.m. The Wildcats appeared to have a problem with their communications devices, their PitchCom, while they were pitching with 2 outs in the 8th inning, leading to a mound visit that ensured that another inning would not be played as it hit that 4:30 p.m. time slot. Anybody else see this video of the managers just yelling back and forth?
Yes.
Nate, what are your thoughts on this? Is there such a rule in the high school world?
No, there is not. I didn't even know this existed in the SEC until this came out. If it's true based on what we've seen, and it sure as hell looks like they stalled, I think it's pretty low. But at the same time, the score was 10-5. I would have had more of an issue if it was a 1 or even a 2-run game. But the fact that it was 5 runs, I'm like, okay, not as bad. But if it's like a 2-1, 3-2 game, and you're pull this stunt, that's pretty shady.
Yeah. Why is this? I don't understand this.
Because I think it's only for Sunday games.
Okay.
So the schools can get back to campus and not have to. Well, because you know how big these freaking
Yeah.
conferences are
No.
getting.
Yeah, I got it. I wasn't. I didn't think about it being just like a Sunday game. That's why I'm like, wait a second.
Yeah, Sunday only because Sunday games they start like 1:00.
So yeah, I do believe it was just for Sunday. I agree. So yeah, it's just interesting. I haven't seen this come up before. I mean, that's a 3.5 hour game already. It is 10-5.
Well, I'm assuming it started at 1. I don't know if there was a rain delay or if it was just long as the scoring of 15 runs over 8 innings.
I don't know. In AAA baseball, the Pirates' Altoona Curve announced they're going to play 5 games as the Livies this year to honor Paul Skeen's girlfriend, Livy Dunn.
That's so weird.
I love Livy Dunn. And so do you. You're in love with her.
To call your team the Livies for 5 games, that's just weird.
I think it's cute.
That's
You're
just
trying to keep
weird.
calling, you know.
In hockey, we alluded to this a few weeks ago, but it is now official. Sidney Crosby becomes the first this year to take out a Wayne Gretzky record, securing his 20th season of scoring at least 1 point per game in the regular season, besting Gretzky's 19 seasons of doing so. Do we think this is more impressive than Ovi potentially breaking the goal-scoring mark by Gretzky? And how do we feel about Sidney Crosby playing right now in a less than competitive market with Pittsburgh?
I mean, it's going to come as a homer take because we're Penguins fans, but I think the point per game over 20 years is more impressive than scoring all these goals. I mean, if you watch, even as a casual hockey fan, all Ovechkin does is shoot the puck, shoot the puck, shoot the puck. So, I mean, yes, he's great at scoring from the dot or whatever, but like you said, you're in a lesser market with a lesser team. Granted, they had a couple good runs, but to be able to produce that well year over year with guys coming in and out of the lineup, in and out of the organization, and doing it close to your upper 30s, pushing 40 now, I mean, it's a reason it was a record for so long.
Indeed. Alex, thoughts?
So the thing for me with the points is consistency. And that's what I think he was consistently that guy, so.
Yeah, homer take for me too. I think what Sidney's doing is more impressive because of that consistency. You got to think it was all but I think like one of his seasons at this point has been a point per game. So that's pretty impressive for that. It's pretty much since you've been in the league, you've been on this streak. So that's cool. Jim, any thoughts on hockey?
I don't want to mess with the Gretzky Ovi thing. I'm not gonna.
What's he away?
Stoke
How many
enough
goals
of you
away?
guys?
Is he like 4 goals away now?
He was 6 over the latter part of last week, so it's probably 4 or 5 now.
If for some miraculous reason he goes on a cold streak and doesn't get it this year, you think he comes back for one more year just to get it?
When like Yammer Yager stuff then.
Yeah. Well, that's one thing I want to see, and no one's talked about it. I'll have to look up and see, just for my own curiosity. Like, how many games played or over how many seasons did it take Obi to do it versus Gretzky?
I think Gretzky played like 19 or 20 seasons total, if I remember right.
Well, he played at least 19 if Sid just broke
Right.
that.
Yeah. So, all right, moving into basketball, specifically in the college world, the March Madness. We're going to talk about really where the semifinals are at this point. If anybody has any memorable items from the Sweet 16 and the Elite 8. But before we get into that, Alex and I have some betting updates.
We do have betting updates.
Go ahead,
So
Alex.
I took a little bit of a tumble from winning. At first, I was... Well, okay, let me rephrase it. I had a tumble from where I was at per round. I've been down 2.558 units in the Sweet 16 and Elite 8 action, but overall, I'm still 0.888 units up.
Alex is on the positive. In the green for all of the bets at this point.
Overall.
Yeah, overall. And overall, Alex is up by almost a unit. I was down a little less than Alex in the Sweet 16 Elite 8, as I was down almost 1.5 units. But for the entire tournament, I am 3.5 units down. But I'm going to take that as a moral victory because I was down almost 11 units after the first round. So I have made some recovery with an opportunity to get back to around even, I hope, in the games upcoming. Which brings us to who the Final Four are in the matchups on Saturday. We have Florida taking on Auburn. Florida favored by 2.5, over under 159.5.
If
I am going to be on Auburn money line and the under in this game.
Okay. I was going to end up taking Auburn plus the points. Auburn money line's enticing though. So in this game, I think the big thing's going to be John Broom's health. Like if he got a little banged up in the last game. So as long as he's
elbow
it was like
injury.
elbow and knee. It was very weird the way he fell. He like crumpled. And but as long as that's healed up, I think they'll be all right.
Yeah. And the second matchup, we have Houston taking on Duke. Duke favored by 4.5, over under 135.5. I am on Duke to cover.
I'm struggling with this one because I know it's a homer pick to want to take Houston with the points, not to cover, but I think I'm going to do it. I think I'm going to take Houston plus 4.5. I think that they can compete with Duke to a level. I could see it being a like last possession kind of game. So I'm going to take Houston plus 4.5.
This is the first time, I believe, since the latter part of the 2000s where we've had all number one seeds
I think it's only the second
represent
time ever,
the Final Four.
if I remember correctly.
I don't know if I'm going that far. It's the first time since sometime in the 2000s, or like the mid to late 2000s.
Maybe that's right.
That I do recall. Yeah. Anything from last weekend's action of note, Alex? Aside from Alabama going on a 3-point spree against BYU?
Yeah, no, not really.
Arkansas blew like a 17-point lead.
Yeah, that John Broom getting banged up was scary for a hot second. Not that Auburn's not a good team without them, but he does a lot for them. Yeah, no, not much outside of that. Houston kind of smoked Tennessee, Duke, Bama, and Florida, Texas Tech. So, nope.
All right. And last in the college basketball world, real quick, former Kansas basketball player Hunter Dickinson received a waiver for a 7th year of eligibility and has entered the transfer portal.
Wild.
Just another example of this isn't the 9th year like Cam McCormick at Miami football.
But we're on our way.
But we are getting there. If he gets hurt again, we may be looking at year number 8.
Wild.
Moving to the NFL.
Here we go, Jim. Wake up.
Oh, okay. I'm good. Thanks.
We had the owners' meetings.
Yeah, that happened.
Some rule changes that were voted on, some which went through, some which have been tabled. First, in the owners' meetings, they approved a modified kickoff rule where touchbacks will be brought out to the 35-yard line in hopes of discouraging teams from kicking so many balls out of the damn end zone. The NFL is projecting that the return rate will increase from about 33% from last year to somewhere in the range of 60 or 70% this year with this change. Do we like this? And do we expect this to lead to more scoring?
I'm so confused by what they want. Because
Thank you.
Like I get it, like kickoff returns are exciting. But they're also like, we don't want you guys running full steam into each other. So like they want you to kick it off, but they don't want a dangerous play. But then they also do kind of want you to run it back, so they kind of want a dangerous play. I just feel like they contradict themselves a lot.
Right. I mean, the kickoff itself, we still have the kickoff where they're not running all the way down the field at full speed at each other, right? So that's still in play.
But I don't know. I just feel like it's a little. I'm just sick of talking about kickoffs, to be honest. Kickoffs.
Jim?
Yeah, before you freaking know it, it'll be like high school under varsity. They just start with the ball on the 35.
Well, I think this is an attempt to keep the kickoff in the game. Part of the attempt.
Yeah.
Jim, thoughts?
I'm with Alex. Alex took the words right out of my mouth.
All right. The method for measuring first downs is going to formally be switched from the chain gangs to the camera-based technology official.
Good.
Traditional crew will still remain on the sidelines in a secondary capacity.
Good.
Good? Why do you think good, Jim?
Because we have technology. Technology is good.
Yeah.
What if this technology leads to a commercial break sponsored by LASIK? Was that
We're
who we talked
already
about,
there,
Nate?
Muff. I don't. Just let the
See, the
technology
only good
do
thing
its
I can see with this, though, is you're not going to have the, like you said, the timeout in the game or the stoppage to go out and physically measure it. It's just going to be, all right, here we go. Kind of like how the ball strike challenge system was in spring training. It's just going to be
We
okay,
suspect.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know for sure until we actually see this in action. We'll know how quickly
all
it's
I
done.
want to know is that yellow line on my TV going to be completely accurate now?
Exactly. I am about that.
Well, I don't think it's ever going to be accurate because it's based. There's multiple camera angles.
But Muff, they were going to
It
this
should be.
technology.
What is okay? So what's the yellow line gauging off of at various camera angles?
No, it
Well,
should
they
be
need to make
gauged
it better.
off the sensor, Muff.
Where are the sensors?
Up in the box. The box should tell me, like the computer should
So if
tell me
there's
where it's
nothing on
at.
the field, why should we
Well,
trust
no,
any
they
of
have
this?
those pylons that they use for first downs. The camera's in it.
Is that where these set? I don't know how this operationally works. I don't know how they make this work. There's obviously a
do you
sensor
mean,
in the
Muff?
ball. We know that.
That's a field. You make a grid. The sensor goes off the grid.
But yeah, and either way, I just hope that this, like, if anybody wants to challenge or measure, I hope it's just as quick as getting on the mic. It's like, we have a measurement. It has been determined that blah, blah, blah. Not, okay.
There shouldn't
let's
be
have
even a need to
officials
measure,
timeout.
guys.
Teams go to teams go to the sidelines. That should go away.
We'll see. I'm just not. I'm not away there yet. I think this is going to be commercialized, and we're going to have the
You
same
use a flip phone. Shut up. Your
I
opinion
don't
does
use a
not
flip phone.
count.
I don't use a flip phone.
You would if you could.
I most certainly would. Another rule change: both teams will be allowed to possess the ball in overtime in the regular season in a 10-minute overtime period. This was originally put out as a 15-minute overtime period with both teams possessing the ball, and it was reduced to 10. This will mimic, at least with both teams get a chance to possess the ball, the playoff rules. Are we a fan of this?
Noah
Yes.
and Dusty are at work. They thought it was Christmas. I mean, they barged into my office telling me how great this is.
So, like, no matter what
I
the
don't
score
necessarily
is.
understand it.
So, no matter if the first team
But the
scores a
first
touchdown, or
touchdown
not.
wins the game.
Yeah.
No. That's not what I was told. Not during the Christmas celebration.
Not during the Christmas celebration.
The first touchdown still wins the game.
No, it does not.
No,
This is
All
saying
right,
no matter
the
what.
boys were wrong.
This is both teams get a chance to possess
Yeah,
the ball, no matter
Like
what happens in that first
mimics the
possession,
playoff rule. So no matter what, both teams get a chance to score.
unless the defensive team scores a touchdown.
Right.
Okay.
So tell them that Christmas is over, and they now need to
Christmas is
start
over,
celebrating
boys. The Grinch is here.
Hanukkah or some other merry time.
Yeah, when they were explaining it, I was like,
Holiday.
then why would both teams possess the ball if the game's over when they score a touchdown? That doesn't make sense, fellas. But they
This
wanted.
is the Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes rule.
That's what
Right.
I was thinking.
What kind of people are you hiring over there, Jim?
Yeah, man.
Buddy,
come
I
on.
questioned it myself. I was like, make this
The
make sense,
tush-
fellas.
The tush push has been tabled for further discussion. I think there's another meeting in 3-ish months. For just because they said they weren't going to make a decision yet. There was speculation that most would be voting against the tush push. Curious what's going to happen here moving forward. What do we think happens? Is anything going to happen with the tush push
No.
before next season?
No.
Jim says no. Alex?
Not before next season.
Nate?
No, if they couldn't get on the same page this early, it's not going to happen. But I feel like it's going to happen, that they're going to abolish it, because there's been enough backlash from defensive people. They're like, oh, well, we can't do this when it comes to blitzing or on punt plays or extra point and field goals. But of course, again, the offense can do it.
As always, Nate, as always. And speaking of Christmas, it may have been Christmas in Jim's office over this past week, but this Christmas, we're going to have a triple header with 2 games on Netflix and a nightcap on Amazon Prime.
This is the best.
This is what, Jim?
This is the best news.
It's a Christmas miracle.
Why is this the best news, Jim?
Because now we
It's
have
not
something
basketball?
to watch. I don't have to see basketball. I don't have to watch the Christmas Story. I can have something that, the kids are going gaga over their stuff.
It's a new tradition being formed in the Crumpson household.
Love this.
They play with the toys and Jim yells at the TV.
Yep. Put some bets down. It's going to be great.
All right. Anything else from the NFL? No,
Nope.
good. All right. In college football, Colorado and Syracuse were denied the opportunity to perform in their spring game exhibition. After the fact, we had some strong words from Syracuse head coach Fran Brown. Said, and I quote, "We should have just told Coach Belichick and Bill O'Brien to come up with it. You know damn well they weren't about to allow Coach Prime and Fran Brown to be the first 2 guys to do
Yeah, I
it."
think that's stupid. I think they were going to let someone do it. They'd be Coach Prime, so.
I disagree.
Go on, Jim.
Alex has put me in a spot where I cannot go on, so I will disagree.
You put yourself in this spot by disagreeing.
I think Fran Brown is exactly right. Like, what? Why? Why couldn't they do it? Look,
The FBS Oversight Committee cited the following, Jim.
and it's horseshit. Those reasons are bullshit.
Late timing. Most teams already planned out their spring practice. In some cases, concluded their spring sessions if they're not doing a game.
These two have
So,
so
unfair.
fuck off.
A recruiting advantage for Colorado and Syracuse because they would receive other teams, an advantage of other teams that couldn't hold a similar scrimmage in the spring,
Bullshit.
and a potential academic impact for athletes missing classes to participate in the practices and
Right.
scrimmage.
But
That's
that
the
playoff
least.
one.
That is the least compelling of all of the
Right.
arguments.
Yeah, we only care about class in the spring, but we don't care about the California schools joining the Big Ten and having a game at Rutgers that have to leave on Wednesday or whatever and come home on Sunday night.
Sorry, bullshit.
I will give something to the late timing. If everyone would be able to do it, there may be more that would do it, or at least consider it. I will say that seems somewhat legitimate to say, we're not going to give it to you in the 25th hour because not everyone else has the opportunity to try
set
to
it
put
up.
this together at this time.
That's the
Correct.
closest argument. But like Michigan and Ohio State versus Bowling Green, like none of them are going to pull that off anyway. Like nobody's going to do it. Let Prime and Brown do it. Let them try it. Who cares? And why does the FBS even have a say? Like, when do they become an authoritative body on shit?
Well, because this isn't about the college football playoff. This is about...
They don't rule on NIL. They don't rule on the transfer portal. We're going to give them authority on the spring game?
Yep.
the only thing they have left, Jim.
Maybe
They
that's
have
it.
their
Maybe they're
moment.
just flexing their muscle. But we have some control still.
Oh, it's ridiculous. This is one of the stupidest things. Dumb.
Western Kentucky going
Hilltoppers.
to be joining the MAC in 2026, Jim.
Good
You
for
might
them.
be able to
Maction.
go watch some games, see some action in Ohio.
I'm about it.
And I want to know if anybody in our crew is interested in making a trip down south to watch the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers this fall, because they are offering free concessions for all of their home football games in 2025.
Absolutely not. Well,
Free?
yes, but I'm confused.
Unless I got April Fooled on this one.
I feel like you might have. Well, if that
No,
makes
it's
no
legit.
sense.
It's legit, but I'm confused. If you go, and it might be because it's the small school, if you go to Ohio State, those concession stands aren't always ran by the school. Like, I know this because I happen to know one of the concession stand owners at Ohio State, and that is
Because he
private.
banks with you.
Right,
The
and he's
offer will
private as
provide
hell.
ticket purchasing. The offer will provide ticket purchasing patrons hot dogs, nachos, and popcorn and fountain drinks at no extra cost. So I feel like it's not like, you know what I mean. There's probably like certain.
At concession stand 1 and 7 and 12, you can get these 3 things for free.
Yes.
Or that's like playing. You're going on a scavenger hunt. Like,
Right.
there's only you can get the free drink at these ones. You can
Right.
get the free hot dog. That would actually be somewhat comical. I can
But,
get
like,
behind that.
Tim Hortons does the hot chocolate at the Horseshoe. You know, like, maybe it's because it's a smaller school. I don't know.
We'll see how it goes.
But I think a Chanticleers game I would go to regardless. Like, I think it could be on the bucket list.
We'll see how that goes. Other news in the college football world, Jim.
USC secured a commitment of former Oregon defensive tackle Pledge. Muff, say the name.
Tamahini Topui.
Thank you.
God bless you.
On Tuesday, handing the Trojans their latest recruiting victory in the 2026 cycle. Oh no, Muff! I lost my notes. Did you sign me out?
No, sir.
All right, Muff. I lost the notes and I can't get back in.
Here you go, Jim. Coming up next, your Buckeyes landed a significant recruiting upset in the 2026 class on Monday, edging LSU in Texas to secure the commitment of 4-star safety Blaine Bradford, the number 32 ranked junior in the ESPN 300.
Yeah. Thank you. Now I'm back. Go ahead.
And this, maybe I'm not good with this. A 4-star is that highly coveted?
Yes.
Okay.
4 and 5 are coveted.
Oh, I just thought of baseball news.
I get that.
WVU
We're
beat
still in football.
Ohio State 10-6. Go on.
I just thought of hockey news.
Okay, go ahead.
Penn State's in the Frozen Four.
I just saw other hockey news. A veteran scored. He's now 3 away.
Okay. Still in football news, assholes. Indiana football receiver Tyler Morris suffered a non-contact knee injury during spring game, and it will be a season ending. He was a transfer from Michigan, started 34 games last year, had 350.
Started 34 games last year?
Sorry, I apologize. Was a starter last year, has started for Michigan 34 games, scored 2 touchdowns last year, was a big get for Indiana, and now he'll be out next season.
So you're saying he's a big get as a Michigan? He's a Michigan player, big get, or big get for Indiana? Like, I just
You
want to
know
know.
what,
Like,
Muff? Here's the situation. Y'all
I need to know,
motherfuckers
because
gave
this
me
seems-
the assignment to report on the offseason. I'm reporting on the offseason, and you're being an asshole.
at least I'm asking questions. You don't ask questions about baseball.
But it's sarcasm, and I don't appreciate it. Andrew Luck hired Frank Reich at Stanford after firing the coach. I didn't realize Andrew Luck could fire, but as a GM of a college program, I guess you can do that. I don't know why every school doesn't have their own GM. Take a lot of heat off everybody else. But Andrew Luck fired the guy for a lot of things, apparently. There was 2 investigations for how he treated women and 3 different investigations, different situations. But then Andrew hires his old coach out at Stanford.
Well, and they even said interim coach, right?
Yeah, it's just a 1-year situation. So, go ahead, Muff. Tear me apart now. Put out a little bit of effort.
I've got nothing on Frank Reich in that whole situation.
See, I was just thought we were skipping ahead.
We're reporting on torn ACL. We're reporting on a torn ACL.
So does anyone have more hockey news?
Apparently you have something, Alex. So
Oh, no, I was just going to go down the list here that you have left. But hockey news, actually, if you want to get technical, the head coach of the Wheeling Nailers is now the winningest head coach for the
At the Wheeling
franchise
Nailers?
in history. Yes, Derek Army.
Oh, wow.
I think it's 148th game, 147th game victory, so he passed the previous most winning coach. So, good work, Derek Army. Oh,
And the Nailers are in the
Yeah,
playoffs.
but what was that guy's name?
Nail it down.
Benetti? Something like that, I don't know.
Moondog.
But either way, Derek Army. Anyone have golf news? Golf.
Alex, there's nothing under these
Golf
golf
on the table.
They're just they're placeholders.
I'm just saying we had some stuff that
Alex,
happened throughout the episode. Basketball?
Alex, I had something
Oh,
golf
sorry,
related.
golf.
Roy's
would love
getting
to
treatment
say-
on his elbow.
What?
Roy's getting treatment on his elbow ahead of the Masters.
He is. And I would love to say I'd be going live from Augusta National next week, but I'm not allowed to.
My
so
stepbrother's going to be there. You might see him.
on Tuesday.
He'll be there for the practice. I don't know which one, but he'll be there.
So I'll be there on Tuesday. No cell phones allowed. Can only bring cameras.
We've
So,
gone over this, Muff.
Yeah. So I'll be on Tuesday, taking a drive down with Baltimore Guru Keith, baseball guru Hugh, and my father. So
I like how we're not part of his people he's taking.
I mean,
Why
I
wasn't
don't
you
know
guys?
that you would behave well enough for Augusta National.
I would not. I shouldn't go, but you guys.
I mean, of everyone, Alex is the person I've golfed with the most.
I am
and
not on the level of Matt.
And
golfed
you've
with
got-
everyone
you cut
else
him
in
out.
this situation significantly
No,
more
I
than
am not on
Alex.
the level.
Cut Alex
I
out.
never once thought that I would be someone that would go to the Masters.
I mean, Muff is
Of
mine.
all the people
When
Muff got,
contacted him,
Muff goes
please.
on Muff. It's
Muff.
Muff season. Muff goes on golf trips with these people all the time. I go to Ogilvy with him.
Muff.
We're not the same.
Now on it's Muff.
Muff.
When it's
I
golf
think that's
season,
what
it's
I do.
Muff.
I golf. They golf.
Sorry,
That
Muff.
may
Just
be-
busting you. Keep
may
going.
be true. I mean, I don't feel any sort of way about it.
We know you have no soul.
Some days. Other things, basketball, baseball, anybody?
We're done talking about basketball.
Well,
I gave my baseball.
Baseball
Alex
puts
was
me to
going
sleep.
down the list.
Yeah, I
don't
gave
know.
my baseball news. It's just that WVU beat Ohio State baseball.
You know, you get a couple wins. Even a squirrel finds a nut every now and then.
Just making a direct statement.
Alex, did you have anything to add or whatever about WVU's new basketball coach with his formal press conference coming up?
No, we'll see. He's in Morgantown. He's touched down.
Is the governor going to show up?
That's actually a legitimate question, Alex.
Is the governor going to show up?
Yeah, it's a legitimate
I don't know.
question based on what's been going
I
on.
don't know. We're just going to let that one ride and see what happens.
We're going to find out later.
Is it going
If
to
he
be like
shows
a
up,
holiday?
could be interesting.
No. It wasn't a holiday for Rich Rod's press conference, let alone just Russ Hodge or
I
whatever.
mean, that time where you flipped like a bad pair of underwear, just I hate him. Oh wait, I love him.
I don't know if that's actually a saying, but okay.
I mean, is the governor on a diet now, Alex?
yeah,
Since he
I
got
was
called
gonna
out?
I didn't know if we were going to go there.
I didn't either because I almost mentioned it. I was like, I don't know if we're going there or not. Yeah, apparently he's walking. So
Muff brought politics to the show. I'm
get,
so
get healthy,
like,
y'all.
happy.
We brought the governor.
That is
I
like
feel we
that's a
had
very
to-
loose sprinkling of politics.
Yeah, we didn't get into
Governor
the
getting
deep
fat
details
shamed.
there. Yeah, there we go. There's the
did.
tagline. I mean, I'll bring this up in wrestling news. Penn State brought in former Ohio State wrestler Rocco Wells, Pennsylvania native, flipped him to come to Penn State. So,
There's some.
and which then led to one of the most highly coveted recruits over the past years that Penn State had entering the transfer portal because he's like, yeah, I'm probably not gonna be able to beat this dude.
Maybe he'll go to Ohio
We
State.
should
You guys
talk
can trade.
offline about. We should talk about some things offline.
About the transfer portal, about college athletics.
Yeah.
Seems very appropriate for a sports related show, Jim.
I don't feel like getting into this with Alex on the. Let's just talk. Let's end this show. It's early. It's the off season. We ain't got a lot to
Alright.
talk about.
That is this end of this week's episode of Sports Stuff with Jim and Muff. We'll be coming out with another one Monday morning.
Will we?
Maybe. Well, I said we're going to try to get back to
Well, we gotta do
Sunday.
it before, we got to do it before Muff leaves for
And I'm
Tulsa.
leaving
No,
Monday
Jeff.
morning and not coming back till Wednesday night, Jim.
Well, all right.
We'll see what's going on, but we'll get something else out there. I'm going to be a guest on a radio show on Friday.
Cheater.
Yeah, I don't necessarily like that you're cheating on us.
What radio show?
This is an opportunity to boost us.
something on WGLZ.
Like, I think you should have to zoom us in.
Part of my day
No.
job. Well, maybe this can lead to this,
Oh, yeah.
Jim. It's actually not part of my day job. It was a request within my day job, I should say.
Like, I think you should have to bring those kids onto this show.
Your day job's kind of
This is
like my
part of
day
a
job.
This is a vetting process, Jim. It's a vetting process.
They heard the way that
And
I
then I
talk, and they were like, "Absolutely, don't bring that one."
I think
That was a
we should
wild
be on
card.
that show.
Well, they don't know the rest of us either, so I'm the first step here. So we'll see where it goes.
But we're not allowed to cuss on that show. That's the problem.
I would say likely not.
I can do it.
That's a problem.
Alex, can you create no bad jokes?
Yes,
No,
if I really
you
have
can't.
to, I can. Today I told my
Can you be
Today I told
appropriate?
my boss, I'm like, I have to say something that I thought of yesterday that I recognized as an inside thought, and I held it inside until now. And she was like, "Okay, go ahead." I think she was just proud.
And you said it anyway?
Yeah, but I think she was just proud I kept it in the meeting when we were with other people. I just waited till I was in a safe place to express myself.
Nate, do you have that problem at your office?
Growth.
Keeping your inside thoughts in?
With certain people in the office, yes. When they leave the room, no.
I have a feeling Sam doesn't have this problem. Those
What?
inside thoughts come out.
Yeah. Yeah. Last 2 weeks ago at work, I had to teach one of my coworkers what the term raw dogging was. So.
All right. In order to get this rocket ship to the moon,
You need to tell a friend. Make a friend. Be
friend.